If you haven't seen a Football Life documentary of the 1993 Houston Oilers team, I highly recommend it. If you're a big football fan, you will definitely enjoy it. If you love history, especially at football, you don't want to miss this. And boy, I'm glad to see that. The late 80s, early 90s Houston Oilers team, they were some of the most talented teams in the NFL. They were unfortunately another case of a what if teams. So they had a lot of talent. The Houston Oilers had a lot of talent. But in that 93 season, there were too many off the field problems, a lot of distractions. Social media, I mean, they were lucky that social media didn't exist back then. But if there was social media, it would have been super chaotic. So the Oilers in that 92 wildcard game against Buffalo, they had a comfortable lead, and then Buffalo came back and completely won that game. All that was very heartbreaking, and they choked, but they still had a good team. So in that 93 season, owner Bud Adams, he became very impatient. He was a very impatient owner, and he threatened to sell the team if they don't win. Basically, put a lid, so much wood on that fire on that Houston team. And he could have been a so much better owner for that team. He could have made better decisions, but hey, not every owner in sports is a great owner. So when Buddy Ryan arrived to Houston in that 93 season as a defensive coordinator, it was the beginning of a huge storm that was about to come in Houston. Buddy Ryan had success as a defensive coordinator in Chicago in that 1985 season with blitzing and the 46 defense. So Buddy Ryan, he was a piece of work. He was a piece of work going from Chicago to Philadelphia and now to Houston. So him and head coach of the Bears, Mike Ditka, they didn't see much eye to eye, but they won. So they knew Buddy Ryan's reputation. They knew what they were getting, but you had to see it to believe it. And Oilers head coach Jim Party and Buddy Ryan did not click whatsoever. And both of them, they were total opposites. Buddy Ryan didn't answer to Jim Party, and both of them, they just, the dynamics were off. The dynamics were completely off. The chemistry was off, and it became so much worse when Buddy Ryan took a swing at Jim in a national televised game that season, something that you rarely see between two coaches, to get at one another. But Buddy Ryan didn't connect. He took a swing, but he didn't connect. And people were exaggerating, like, oh, Jim got clogged. No, that didn't happen. But Buddy Ryan also had issues with the offensive coordinator, Kevin Gilbride. It was offense versus defense when it came to team practices, and it was a mess. It was so chaotic. I forgot the Oilers player, he said that they needed therapy because that season was just insane. It was one of the most notorious teams, especially around that era. I mean, there was just so many issues that were taking place that season with so many people involved. But quarterback Warren Moon, he said that he felt that the team needed a spark to light up the team, because they were one of these teams that they were so great in the regular season, but they just couldn't get the job done once the postseason came around. So Warren Moon said that, and Buddy Ryan brought, despite whether you love him or hate him, Buddy Ryan, he brought swag and he brought credentials to this Houston team. So And but the Oilers, they were a very talented team. This is a team that led the league in passing the previous 3 seasons. They had Pro Bowl wide receivers, a Pro Bowl quarterback, a Pro Bowl offensive lineman. They were about like 6, 7, or 8 members of that Oilers team that were Pro Bowlers in that '93 season. So that was good. And then you had all these stories that took place in the '93 season, like the Babygate storyline, which was a wild story. It featured Oilers offensive tackle David Williams, and this story came about because he missed a game because he decided to stay home with his wife, who recently gave birth to their child. And at that time, even though nowadays players, they would take the day off, and it would not been a big deal. But back in those days in the early '90s, it was uncommon for a player to not suit up, to not show up, to not take a flight, to be there for their team. So he got fined for it. He got criticized for it, and it rubbed off so many people off the wrong way. I felt like it was unfair because I'm a firm believer that, I would have done the same thing, although not every player thinks that way. Not that they're being insensitive or anything, but it's just that some players, okay, they're there for the child, whatever, and then they go into the game. I don't feel that it was a lack of commitment. I just felt that it was in his nature and his good heart, to be there for his wife and his new kid. So I don't have no issue with him missing a game. But again, at that particular time, it was uncommon for a player to miss a game because of that situation. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are still some players who still feel strongly about it. But you had that situation. You also had situations where I felt bad for Warren Moon because there were times that he kept getting benched over and over because of his lack of performance. But Warren Moon, he's one of those underrated quarterbacks that I wish he could have won in Houston, but that didn't happen. And you could tell that he was very frustrated, that he felt that he was letting the team down. And although he was rooting for the team, he was rooting for the backup quarterback, but deep down, he was waiting for the backup quarterback to mess up so then he could come in. But you had all these things going on. You had Jeff's suicide, which was a huge, devastating blow to the team. It was a wake-up call for the team. And this happened late in the season, December of 1993. So despite all the craziness, despite everything that was going on, the Oilers did finish with a 12-4 record, first place in the AFC Central. They finished with a 11-game winning streak, which was the longest winning streak since 1972. But then the season came to an end when once again they had a good lead, entering the fourth quarter. They led 13-7, but then Joe Montana and the Chiefs came back and shocked them, beat them, eliminated them. And they were also a very talented team that didn't win at all. They ended up winning the game 28-20. So, and that put the lid to the end of Houston Oilers' run. Like I said, they had so many good seasons, but in the postseason, they just couldn't get it done. And I feel that 92 and 93 were their best chances of reaching the conference, the championship game, or even the Super Bowl, but that didn't happen. But again, if you haven't seen that documentary, A Football Life of the 93 Oilers season, I highly recommend it. Thank you for watching this video. Hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And as always, be safe. And may God bless you all.